Welcome back, Pudlings. So as you can see, I'm out on the bike. Skadoosh. This is the realities of my lovely, freezing cold commute home from work. And this is a perfect opportunity to discuss filtering on a motorbike. And that's one of the things you have to look out for on a motorbike, because people won't see you as easy, so they'll just pull out like little spanners. He didn't do much wrong at all, to be fair, but see if these just drift across. Ah, sick. Well, that's always fun, isn't it? Yeah, and they also do that at this junction for some reason. But anyway, filtering on a motorbike. One of the first videos I did on the channel was actually this exact subject, but I'm more focused on the hate you get from filtering on a motorbike, which is still very much apparent. But it's more of a how-to, or at least how to start filtering on a motorbike. And to be honest, the best advice I can give to you is situations like this, you've just got to go for it. You've got to go for it. Obviously, make sure you're confident on a motorbike first. And this is where learning to ride and starting on a 125 is really going to help your cause, because that's how I learned to filter. So if you're really anxious about starting to filter, honestly, my first tip to you would genuinely be try, but in little amounts perhaps. So if there's a couple of cars, or it's a, you know, particularly wide road, go for it. Don't hesitate. You know how to handle a bike, you've done your CBT, whatever you're riding, go for it, see how it goes, because at the end of the day, you can always tuck back in alongside a car, and you're not going to die. You're not, okay? Well, of course, unless a truck crashes into them and then you are pancaked. But that's not going to happen, please don't take that as gospel. So I would honestly just say, little and often to start with, any opportunity you've got, give it a bit of a pop. Why not? See what you can do. And soon enough, you will start to pick it up. You'll get more confident on your bike over time. You'll get more confident filtering through gaps. You'll learn which gaps you can take. And we all make mistakes. On my 125, I remember thinking I could get through a gap between a wagon and a van and smacking my 125's wing mirror off of a van's wing mirror. Thankfully it didn't do any damage and the guy was fine about it, but I suppose there is sort of that element of, well, sometimes if you go a little bit too far you might get it slightly wrong, but once you start you will never stop filtering, honestly. You'll start and go, oh wow, I managed that, so the next time you'll do it again and you go, oh wow, you know that, yeah, that felt okay again. So the next time you'll try even more, or you'll try a tighter gap, or you'll try somewhere where you thought was too narrow, and you'll just find your gaps, wait till there's no one coming traffic, blip past a few cars, and Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. She is! And like I said, that confidence just builds over time. And then you go and buy a bigger bike, and then he throws a spanner in the works, because then you're having to deal with a much bigger bike and you're scared about filtering again, which is exactly what I was, and then you just rinse and repeat the process. Although one thing you may have to learn to do on a sports bike is you may need to just get that single-handed control and... Oh, that's a tight mirror. Right, okay, you can tell I don't tuck my mirrors off them for filtering, but that's because that is such a tight mirror. That one's loosey-goosey because I've put the camera mount on it. Oh, I need a bit more from you. More! So the mirror tuck, if you watch a lot of, say, London riders, commuters, especially on sports bikes, you'll see they'll do the mirror tucks, you know, even if they're stopped and they know they're going to shoot through some gaps, they'll tuck the mirrors, because the mirrors are typically the widest part. Hence me saying, on my 125, I smashed my mirror. Well, I didn't smash it, but I banged it. God, sound all dramatic for YouTube, Adam, why don't you? Jesus, Pud, you are useless! Self-criticisms. And I mean, I will say, I think when you get a bigger bike, and you can blip past people normally on the road like this, and overtake a lot easier, you will find it... I've gained a shit ton of confidence with filtering, because now I'm like, well, now everyone's stationary, so I don't have to find gaps really. I can just move to the side and go around them. I will acknowledge you're going to get people pissing and moaning. You just are. I said in the previous video I did on this that it's every other day. If you're filtering a lot, every other day you'll get someone who moans or tries and blocks you a little bit. It just happens. You've got to learn to deal with it. They're not hard to deal with because at the end of the day they're pretty stationary and they're waiting in queue and you don't have to, so who's winning now, bitch? Sorry, that doesn't help, does it? That's definitely not a good rep. No, but since I've started a TikTok, I've posted a few videos, and one video, I'm not trying to accidentally flex, but sort of am. One of my videos has got 1.1 million views, and I think the only reason for it is because there's a few things that happen in a very short period of time. Some woman's on a phone, someone pulls out on me, whatever. But no one finds fault with that. I've had a lot of people comment and no one finds fault with anything anyone else does. What they're calling me out on is what I'm filtering and how I'm doing it incredibly illegal. So, one thing you do need to know that I didn't when I first started is what you're allowed to and what you're not allowed to do, filter over. So, dashed lines like that, you filter to your heart's content, obviously as long as it's safe. If there's oncoming traffic, you know, you've got to be careful. It's rules apply. It's legal to pull out of a junction, but do you pull out of a junction if there's a car coming? No. So be sensible. But what is an absolute no-go is this. To the right, you can see solid white lines. Solid white lines, just do not cross them. That's a no-go, unless in an absolute emergency. If you have to, do it. But other than that, don't, because solid whites, it is not legal to cross them. So yeah, don't do solid whites. Now, there's a little bit of a grey area, or not a grey area, but there's definitely something that can be a little bit of confusion. Right, here we go, here's a perfect example. Dashed lines on the left, we've got a decent amount of space, so we're gonna go for it. Yeah, I can see them moving out though there. Must be a parked car or something. Oh, you see they're giving me some space, so thank you very much. But I'll move in now because there's probably not quite enough space, especially with the oncoming cars. So it's just sort of, I could probably get another car, probably because you've got your lights on. Lights, lights, lights. Muppet. That's why I couldn't see him, because he didn't have his pissing lights on. But then when you get to corners like this, where I can't see around the left-hand corner, the traffic's blocking any sort of space I've got in this line, so I just won't go for it. Because, you know, you are allowed to just wait on a bike if you don't want to filter. You don't have to. But when you're a sexy, chubby god like me, filtering is mandatory. Go around there. Lovely. Ah. Now it definitely tightens up down here a touch. It's just picking your battles really, picking your gaps, making sure your gaps are safe to go down. Like I'm just gonna jump a car or so here. Probably just the one. Nah, I can get the second. Get past that van. Ah, you see now it's opened up a little bit. So because this Fiesta, well, because cars are parked over to left a little bit. Thank you. But then you do get cars. Not saying you are doing this, got Mr. Golf, but you do get cars who will just stay in the centre even if they've seen you, just because they don't want to let a biker pass. It is what it is. Some of the general public you will find are somewhat fat waffles with smelly bumholes. I mean, hats off to you if you've got a nice smelling bumhole. Maybe post shower, but probably not right now if you've just, you know, dropped your ass or something. Jesus, what is this conversation? There's a burger at your nan's door and it's getting fucking cold. Burger, burger. Is that stuck in anyone else's head? And she cannot eat red meat. If she has a single bite, she'll die. Oh, right, I know I'm going left at this roundabout. So to filter down outside and then cut across people and stuff, I'm just like, I'm not all that bothered to do that. I'm not that fussed to, I'm not that in a rush, so. He says, but then I'm just gonna go for it. And if you need to utilise another lane to do so, do it. Honestly. Right, I've sort of blocked myself here. Sam, no, I'll go for it. It's alright, they'll let me. Thank you, that was very polite of them. You see, that's why I was saying, sometimes, if you know you're going a certain direction but you'll have to filter a certain way, just don't bother. It's not worth it sometimes. But like that, that's definitely worth it, and it's very well timed also. It's just about mitigating your risks, but also just trying to make a bit of progress. Because what people don't understand about filtering is it's completely legal, so, and it helps decrease traffic, so anyway. Right, so you see in the centre here, we've got the dashed lines, the box. But then you see the border of that box is dashed also. That means perfectly legal to filter into that. Perfectly legal. Which is what people on that TikTok that I created, well, that's definitely not what you're supposed to do. The TikTok that I created, I was in one of them boxes and people were saying, oh, you're not allowed to go in a hatched box. And it's like, well, actually, if you knew your stuff before you commented, you'd know I am fully allowed to go into that. Now, if it's a hatched box just like that, but it's a solid white border, then no. Again, only in emergencies. But people do tend to try and reckon on they know exactly what to do, and just educate them, bitch. You see, look how illegal that setup's been. Oh my god, how are you in that box? Oh my god, I can't believe it. Oh my god, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Vlog him. Oh, Baron. Vlog him. The OG. So they're sort of the basics of it. Also, try not to do it too much past busy junctions, you know, because you're just all going around the outside of people when you know there's a lot of right turns off the road coming up, because you just need to be very vigilant of people turning across the front of you. I had a friend who were filtering just like that, and a woman didn't look, turned, and he went straight over the bonnet. So it's a bad situation for bikes. Also, be mindful of junctions on the left, because if you're filtering down all these daddy boss men, oh, look at this, here we go. If you're filtering all these daddy boss men and there's a junction on the left and someone lets a car out but you can't quite see the gap that they've left, that car's going to shoot out without knowing you're there. And you don't want to be brown bread, so remain safe, bitch. And obviously boxes for turning into left junctions. Mindful, be mindful. It's just all about being mindful and safe, guys. I'm a bit weird, aren't I? But honestly, like, look at the harm. I've come close to no cars doing that, really. Plenty of room, safe as you like. And now look, we're half a mile further up the road instead of in traffic. Right, and we're actually going right up here, so... Oh, it's clear. It's clear! So now you've got a little bit of the things to look out for, what to sort of do and not do. Now, the inevitable stuff. So you're going to get it. If you filter all the way to the front of a queue, I guarantee probably 50% of the time the person who you've just filtered in front of, who was at the front of the queue, will either try and squeeze you so that you have to let them go first, otherwise it's too dangerous for you. Also, maybe not 50%, maybe a bit less. The knobheads aren't that often. They'll either try and squeeze you, which has happened before to me, or for some reason, in their cars, they will try and beat you off the line. So that then you end up going, you know what I mean? Side by side through a junction or from a set of traffic lights. And I always find that a really strange thing, because what's the one thing that bikes can do? Accelerate immensely quick. Like a 0 to 60 on this is like 3.5 seconds. That's like equivalent to like a Lamborghini or something. It's like you and your little Citroen Saxo, you're not going to beat me off the line, so why are you trying? So, if possible, when you get to the front of a queue, get in front of them, because then it just like mitigates the risk of them trying it, because they can't try it because you're in front of them. They can't get past you. Don't do it, don't do it. It's funny when guys do that. It's like, your truck is longer than the middle of the central reservation, you're going to block things. Anyway, here we go. Look, you see solid white line, but still hatched, so you can't filter in that. But if there's cars queuing and there's a gap here, it's fully legal. Like I was saying, just pick your battles. Go on then, give it a filter through here. Yeah, keep clears, watch out for them. Also, another thing, that was good timing, that was nice. Another thing I was just about to mention, because I was almost forced to do it from filtering right to the front. Try your best not to park in the cycle boxes at the front. If there's a gap sort of before the cycle box, jump in it if you want, but if there's not, try your best to sort of then stay a little bit further back, because motorbikes aren't actually allowed to park in cycle boxes, I don't believe. And I mean, I know I have a few times when I've not fully realised that there's a cycle box at the front of a queue and I've filtered all the way to the front, and then it's like, oh shit, well what choice do I have? Cycle boxes are again one of those where it's like, do it in an emergency, but sort of don't other than that. Like I was saying, I've definitely done it on the channel before, and I think I've been called out by people before as well. It's like, oh, well, it didn't harm anyone, so what you moaning about, Karen? Yeah, that's one thing as well. You could be doing absolutely nothing wrong, and especially if you do vlogging, someone will always find something to bitch and moan about. Like if you're doing 31 in a 30. Oh, well, you know that it's not 31, don't you? They're the rules. It's like, okay, Barbara, why don't you go consult with Karen and go to your little bitch fest meeting? I'm not going to start reeling off loads of names, because there's going to be men and women all through the country and the world, I've not got that many subs, Jesus Christ, who are just going to take offence and then moan at that. So you're just fueling their moans. Not those kind of moans, Pud. And also, if you get in a situation where someone is, you know, racing you off the line and you're not comfortable with that situation, leave them to it. Let them go do it and gun it off the line, because they didn't want that biker to be one in front. It's like, go, you help yourself, mate. Help yourself. It's not going to affect my life, butthole, like I've just clearly affected yours by filtering. I think the one thing that a lot of drivers who moan about filtering and want it banned and stuff need to realise is, as much as it is absolutely gorgeous to skip queues and not have to wait around like a little sheepy chicken butthole, that's only out to the haters, Jesus Christ. As much as it's lovely to skip the queues, and that's definitely a reason why we do it, because it's like, well, we have the right to, so why wouldn't we skip the queues? The main thing about filtering is it's safety for us motorbikers, for us bitches. These bitches, us guys, not him, us. And what I mean by that is, people can rear end you. If you stop at traffic without filtering, the person behind you's moving, because you're flowing traffic. So that person, what if they're a ball bag who checks the phone? Or they're a ball bag who is checking out a fella's beer belly at the side of the road going, oh, I've never quite seen something so gorgeous and rotund. Right, what if they're doing that and they don't know that traffic's slowed down? Boom! Oosh! And then you get thunderbummed in the bum by someone's mum driving a car. That sucked, didn't it? But how can you make sure that doesn't happen? Move to the side and get past all the already stationary traffic. Win-win. Oh, win-win. Oh, win-win. Because by doing that, you get to the front, traffic's already stationary, you can't get bummed by stationary traffic. The only way you can get bummed by stationary traffic is if the stationary traffic tries to race you and you're right in front of them and they just rear-end you from a standstill. But at least rear-ended from a standstill, it's like, yeah, it might knock you off your bike, but it's just going to be a little jolt in it. It might be a bit of whiplash, but you think a car hits you that's going even 20, 30 mile an hour, and you're stationary, you're on that bonnet, maybe through windshield, maybe over at roof, your bike's it's a bad situation. Stay safe, but use your right to filter, because it reduces traffic. Because if there's another bike, that means all the cars behind have to be a car's length behind again on top. Whereas the bikes who can tuck alongside the car can instantly move a bike length forward, and traffic is instantly made smaller. So if there's any car drivers that've got an issue with motorbikers filtering, especially motorbikers who filter completely safely, do one or come at me in the comments. Anyway guys, I just wanted to say that it's more sort of for the newer riders as well, who don't have the confidence to filter. Go for it. Be safe, but go for it. Baby steps as well if you need, but just fucking do it, honestly. Anyway, much love to you all. Please subscribe to the channel, because that would support me and help me endlessly, and I would love you forever. Perhaps sexually, who knows. I am married, so I can't really be saying that. Unless it is my wife who's taking the advice, then it's fine. Right, peace. Mwah. Oh, I just crushed my balls. Oh, my balls. Ow, I crushed my balls. Oh, balls.